Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/zip. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ziprecruiter.com/zip. That's ziprecruiter.com/zip. ziprecruiter.com/zip.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.
Whatever trauma bond, high, low, whatever you like about this, you ultimately are like, okay, well, yeah, roller coasters are fun, but for me, I couldn't function. I couldn't grow a business. I could, like, at some point it's like, yeah, this is like a lot of fun being like super toxic and like ruining my life. But at some point it's like, this is kind of absurd and I need to like move on and stuff like that. So that's really the hardest thing is.
Welcome to the Bomb Life Podcast, where fitness, mindset, and real talk collide. This isn't just about workouts. It's about transforming your body, mind, and life. Get ready for unfiltered conversations, expert advice, and the motivation you need to level up in every way. Hey everyone, welcome to the Bomb Life Podcast. I am Melissa Vogel, your host. Welcome to the show. If you are a brand new listener, welcome. I'm super happy that you found us. And if you're returning, welcome back. You guys know this episode is not going to disappoint. We're diving into a topic today that we've never talked about on this show. So good. And I have a lot to say about this episode. But first, I hope everyone is having a fabulous summer. I don't even want to say this. It's almost done. It's almost done, but it's okay. We're going to enjoy every last bit of it. And I want everyone to know that a new season of life and change is just around the corner. Like, it's happening, right? You guys know kids go back to school, seasons change, like so much shifts again. And I don't want anyone going, oh, what now? What do I do? Like, what happened to me over the summer? Like, I'm stuck. I'm not happy. And then not knowing where to turn. And I want you guys to know, and this can be with mentally, physically, emotionally, like your nutrition, all of it. And I want you guys to know that there's always help. So please go back and listen to previous podcast episodes. That's one great way to start moving forward. 2, educate yourself. Any of the guests that we have on, follow them. Gather information and material. I talk about that on today's episode of like, what's step 1? Follow. Knowledge. That's power. And then also, if you have been listening to me for a while, following me, whatever, you guys know what I do. You know the programs that I have. We have like a group coaching program. I do one-on-one. And if you have been on that fence about sending me a DM and just reaching out and asking questions, now's the time to do it. You guys already know that we are going to blink And like the holidays are going to be here. It's insane. I can't believe the word holiday just came out of my mouth, but you know it's true. And then we put ourselves off. And you guys, you get stuck in this vicious cycle of life of just like maybe tomorrow, maybe Monday, after this, after that. When is enough enough? You know, when does that end? When do you get to live your best life ever? So if you're on the fence, send me a DM, because it kind of ties in with today's episode. You're going to be very awakened today on the topic that we cover. I think everyone will be able to relate to this in a little bit, in just a different way. And if it's not your life, it's someone close to you going, oh my God, yeah, I can see what you're talking about in my sister's life or my friends. And the only way to heal and to move forward is to work on you. I've said this before. I've heard it from Mel Robbins. It is not a Melissa Vogel thing. No one is coming to save you. No one. And if you get stuck in a situation where you are vulnerable and you're not living your best life ever, how do you get out of that? You work on you. And no one else is going to do that for you. And I know you guys hear me say this a lot, and I'm always pushing to talk with me or a program or whatever, but it's the true self-discovery, the motivation, the self-confidence, fueling your body, loving yourself enough to show up for you, like all of these things. That is what I want for you guys. And you can't do that if you don't know yourself. And you can't do that if you're not the best version of yourself. And then you just fall into victim. And I don't want anyone falling into victim. So go to the show notes, book a call with me. Maybe you just need to get a program to start. We'll figure it out together. You don't have to do this alone. Now, today's topic is all on narcissism. It's insane. We have Brian Comstock on, and he is a trauma-informed coach, a speaker, a creator, and he is the voice behind one of social media's most renowned platforms for survivors of narcissistic abuse and toxic relationships. With a following built on clarity, compassion, real-world tools, Brian helps people navigate the emotional aftermath of manipulation, gaslighting, and heartbreak, and ultimately reclaim their power. And through his private coaching practice, Brian works with high-achieving women and men who feel stuck in the cycles of self-doubt, emotional overwhelm, unhealthy relationship dynamics. His approach blends mindset work, nervous system regulation, emotional mastery, and identity level transformation, which is all grounded in both lived experience and professional training. This conversation today will open your eyes because we're talking about what it truly is, what it looks like, what are the roller coasters that you get stuck on in a relationship like this. We cover trauma bonding, gaslighting, breadcrumbing, all of it. And you guys, I had no idea this stuff like truly existed. Sure, I'd be like, oh my God, he's such a narcissist. But like what it really looks like and how it impacts us, holy crap. Brian is just phenomenal. And I say this in the end of the episode, like one of the best things that you can do for yourself is to educate yourself and go follow him, watch videos on YouTube, listen to the podcast, all of the things, because that's going to help you stay informed. And when you're informed, you have power. All right, everyone, enjoy the show. Hey everyone, welcome to the Bomb Life podcast. Today we have Brian Comstock on the show. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you for having me.
I've been looking forward to this episode for a long time.
We're going to get into it.
Oh, we are. You guys, today we're talking all about narcissist. And one of the reasons that I wanted to have Brian on,
we wanted to lighten the mood, so we'll just throw in a whole chapter on narcissists.
Exactly. I found you on Instagram. I swear to God, it was TikTok, but I think you're right. It probably was Instagram. And it was during a time in my life where I was like learning so much about this. And I was telling Brian before we hit record that, you know, I think there's a lot of people that we throw the term out a lot, you know, oh, he's such a narcissist or she's such a narcissist. And it's like, okay, yeah, but truly knowing what it is and identifying it, especially like being in the dating world, like that's really important. And I had no idea that this was a thing, Brian. I had no idea that like there were patterns and behaviors to a narcissist that you can identify, but also I didn't realize how much it can impact your brain. The trauma caused from a true narcissist, holy shit.
Yeah, it's not a joke. That's why I say like every time. It's like, this is not a joke. This is not.
No.
I equate it to addiction level, rehab level. Like this is a serious thing and you alluded to this at the outset of, there's a spectrum. There's a difference. Like there's your garden variety. Oh, this person's like, if someone's selfish one time, oh, he's such a narcissist. Like that actually is a disservice to the people who really have to deal with So
That's true.
yeah. But yes, it does affect your brain. We can go in a million different directions, but
Yeah.
you're essentially getting, and another one that gets tossed out is like trauma bond, right? Because you're getting addicted to
Yes.
these highs and lows. And so when the highs come up, and the high can be as sort of not high, but in your brain, extremely high as a breadcrumb of validation or a breadcrumb of apology or a breadcrumb of some, kind of like, oh, they're coming back and they're turning a corner. Like even a micro inch of that can feel in your brain like a euphoric high.
Yes.
And then once that happens, it comes crashing down.
Mm-hmm.
Not like it just crashes down naturally. No, they make it crash down. You're going to get in another fight. They're going to go back to gaslighting there. It's not just like, oh, it naturally just falls down due to gravity. No. I mean, it crashes down based on their behavior, so that's one that most people can sort of relate to, identify as this sort of quote unquote trauma bond of, I actually have a whole pet thing to say on the trauma bond, but just to illustrate it, this roller coaster that, to your point, that is a true neurochemical. There's like a real brain activity. Yeah, there's a real thing going on. Yeah, it's not just like a meme. Yeah.
And then you don't even realize that you're accepting and just okay with bare minimum. Like,
right.
Like you said, that breadcrumb. You've already said two terms that I wanted to cover was like trauma bond and breadcrumb. And then the other one was gaslighting.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know any of those. Like I had no clue what any of those were.
This is where I was hoping to plug that you're from the Midwest, and because you're a good person, you're a kind person, you're an authentic, good-natured, salt of the earth person from the Midwest. I don't know.
I was clueless.
Yeah. Well, it happens. My clients are the most successful people. They're more successful than me. I have the smartest, greatest, truly greatest humans in my book. Like it happens to anyone. You're not dumb.
Yeah.
And that's a whole other thing. We could do a whole episode on that of like it doesn't mean you're dumb, right? And that's part of the thing is you take yourself as like, oh, I'm emotionally intelligent. I would know better, and it still happens. So then you have to recreate your identity and beliefs.
Yeah. Well, I can relate to that too with like the coaching that I do, the one-on-one coaching that I do, because I work with like highly successful people, high achieving people in this one area of their life. And then the other area of their life, they're like hiding behind the Zoom camera. And they're like, oh, I'm great from here up, but waist down, like don't look. And they've let themselves go. And I'm like, that doesn't mean you're not successful. That doesn't mean that you're not smart. That doesn't mean that you're a loser and you're not winning. It's like, you're really good at this, but like, how would you know how to do nutrition? Are you a nutritionist? Are you a coach? That just because you're really good at this part of your job, it doesn't mean you know how to weight lift. And there's a whole mindset that goes into working out and fitness too, that isn't part of what you do.
Well, that's actually interesting. So yeah, it is. People have specialized knowledge, to your point. And if you get a PhD in anything, that doesn't mean it's a transferable skill to know how to cope and deal with narcissism. But I would actually one up that and say, not only do you not have, yes, you can be amazing and proficient and skilled and specialized in whatever you do. But not only is it not a transferable skill, but I actually think it can work against you. This is what happened to me is if we're in the Bomb Life podcast community and we are attacking life and I can do anything mindset, all these positive things that will help you in every area of your life.
Yes.
If you think you can sort of out mindset and out like take self accountability and ownership to fix them and to fix the relationship, fix the situation, that'll actually work against you.
Oh my God, you're so right.
But it works. But your whole life has been conditioned that this pattern of behavior is why you're fit and successful and you've achieved goals and you've put, anything you stick your mind to, like that dog with a bone, positively stubborn mindset will allow you to be successful in every area. This is what I've go on the record. This is my current. It'll help you in every area of life with one exception. And that exception is trying to make a relationship work with the wrong person. So all those skills and momentum to become the PhD of your life, of your profession, and you take that vigor and it's just it just doesn't work. It doesn't work with them, with the wrong person. No. And in a healthy relationship, maybe you can work things through, but not with the wrong person. Yeah.
No. Okay. What exactly is narcissism? Like, can that be summarized? Like, can you define that?
There's a few ways I always get like define it. It's like, well, of course you could like come up with a list of things. You can Google it,
Yeah.
whatever. So I try to provide a few different kind of vantage points that you might not necessarily just be able to Google or chat GPT.
Give it to me.
So they have 4 classic stages.
Mhm.
You're rolling up this roller coaster, and going up the roller coaster is the love bomb, the excitement. That's where they're doing everything they can to sort of rope you in, and they're doing that intentionally. And then they're going to start to devalue you, meaning chip away at your self-worth, gaslight you. So all the effort that went into hooking you and making you feel like, oh my God, I connect with this. They're just giving me so much attention.
Yeah.
Like all this positive
Yeah.
stuff that they're doing then starts to devalue. Then eventually they'll discard you, meaning like toss you out. And then funny enough, they throw you away, and then they hoover back. They try to suck you back in. So this is the 4th stage, and I'm flying through it. So we could redo it at a slower pace, but essentially the concept is it's a moving target. Like if you're never going to feel stable, you're never going to feel like one second you're feeling super high and amazing. And then the next second you're feeling criticized. And then the next second you're like broke up. And then the next second he's like begging you back. It's like, it's like not a, it's volatile. It's very volatile. So that's one way to sort of not, define it to a degree. To give you an idea. Here's my actual personal favorite. I actually just did a YouTube video on it, but I'll just say it again here. Like it'll save you 13 minutes and say it in like 30 seconds.
Okay.
So I think the best barometer to know for you in your makeup, in your sensitivity, because some people are more sensitive, less sensitive, like for your personal makeup.
Okay.
As time goes on with somebody, you have to register what happens, right? If Melissa came in as a bomb life, super confident person and she's rocking and rolling and she can move and groove with people. And then it's like, wait a minute, I feel like I'm losing a step of like, as time goes on, you feel like you're losing yourself, losing your confidence, losing your vibrancy of life, zest for life, literally everything that you want. It's super intense and negative and like not funny, but it's so intense that I have to bring some sort of lightheartedness to it. But like literally everything that you want, confidence, zest for life, sense of self, like all these emotional assets and emotional qualities, if as over time goes on with this person, you start to lose, you start to strip away those things. Like as time goes on, confidence up or down, down. As time goes on, sense of self up or down, down. As time goes on, are you losing friends? Are your relationships starting to crumble? Like that to me is the ultimate barometer, because now you don't have to pinpoint, you don't have to make it perfect, historical sense of, was it because they slammed the door? Was it because they did this? Was it because they insulted me that one time?
Right.
Like, you don't have to make perfect sense of their behavior, because a lot of it might even be on an unconscious level. So you might not even be able to consciously recollect every transgression and misbehavior they've done. But the good news is your body and your subconscious and your just general essence, the body keeps the score kind of thing. So you will track that. And so then you can say, regardless of what they did or exactly or whatever, like the bottom line is that you feel like a shell of a human. If that's the bottom line, there's a good chance you are dealing with someone who is, and at that point, I don't even use the word narcissist. I mean, that's a very, like I just extrapolated to say, it doesn't matter what you want to call this person, because believe it or not, there's other flavors of personality disorders that we probably don't want to even get into. But it's like, you don't need to know that. What you need to know is the bottom line is this person is making you a shell of a human. Like that is the ultimate litmus test for, is this a narcissist for you? Because that's the effect. What is the, like, we're not just like talking about labels. It's like, what is the effect that it's happening to you? Right.
That is such a good point. Thank you for summarizing that for us. And we don't have to watch the YouTube video. No, go and watch his YouTube video. But like, what a great point. Is that like that it doesn't even matter if this is how you feel and this is what you see happening. Hello, red flag. I can't believe how much what you're saying right now makes sense to me. And I like feel everything that you're saying. Like, I'm like, yeah. How did you know that? And Brian and I don't know each other other than meeting just now. And I feel like parts of my life that I didn't share with you. And I'm like, how did you know that? What creates a person to be like this? Do you know? Like, can we see what creates a person to go through those 4 stages and so well? Like, because I look at myself and I'm like, I would never do that. I would be like, how can I make your life better? How can I be a great partner? How can I be a submissive female? Like, tell me, like that
Well, I mean,
behavior you're describing would never cross my mind, to love bomb someone and then breadcrumb them. How do we get humans like this?
yeah. Well, I like most things with this stuff, there is a nature and nurture component, but it tends to come, there's their own version of like a trauma, maybe an emotional neglect or like a true physical, like they have, like
Okay.
anyone, like they have their own traumas 100%. Yeah. And that's actually that's another trap is if you're an empathetic person, I've been through this myself. I see it with 100% of my clients, 100% of the people I talk to. All these good qualities about you, like everything you just said, you're like, well, shoot, I feel bad that someone went through this like horrifying childhood. Like, let me try to
Yeah.
console them and make them feel better. And like, I don't, like no child deserves, and that is true. Even if you are a narcissist, like no child deserves
Right.
trauma. And so now we have 2 forces. They can use that against you, like play the victim, like, look how, this is what my mom did. This is what my dad did to me. Like, I heard this stuff, like, it's crazy. And then you are someone who's empathetic, like, oh my gosh, that's not right. So,
Worst
to answer
combination
your question,
ever.
so yeah, it's a potent combination. To answer your question, I do think it's mostly nurture by my estimate. And
Okay.
in terms of like they have their own kind of trauma informed childhood
Yeah.
and like, so I think that's a strong pull. But then, man, does it just create a special cocktail later
Yes.
that, because I felt super bad for. I was like, man,
Right.
and it's like now you're trying to be their fixer healer. It just gets really tricky. It really, and like if they're really sophisticated, they're gonna use your natural momentum. Like you're naturally gonna pour in and be like, oh my gosh, like that's so, I feel so bad. And if they're really sort of malicious, it's like they're gonna aid and abet. They're gonna like amplify the momentum you already have to swoop in and try to like, oh my god, I feel bad. I want to, so like empathetic people. It's a gift to be empathetic, right? But you gotta know if someone's
Right. You used a word intentionally when you were talking earlier, when you were going through the 4 stages, and you said like, this is intentional. Like they're intentionally doing this. Is that true? You really think that like they know and they are intentionally love bombing you in that stage and like building you up, like to know later that.
No, it's a fair question. First of all, it's hard to really ever fully get inside the mind of not well people. And that's actually one of the things that got me so deep into this world, because I was trying to make, like, is it intentional? Is it not intentional?
Right.
No, I do think it's an unsatisfying answer, but I think I can defend it. I think it's both. And here's what I mean. I do think they have subconscious pattern. Like, even if they wanted to not do it, I think they can't help themselves. Like we all have
agree.
subconscious patterns of behavior that it's like, even if they recognize, oh my God, I'm like destroying this person and this is actually causing me a lot of stress, because then they come back and like, it doesn't make rational sense of like, there is sort of a natural kind of unconscious, subconscious. So in that sense, it's not intentional, but it is intentional because they do understand that they're hurting you. Like they do understand on some level. They might not empathetically give a they might not care about your feelings as much as you would think, but like they do understand what's happening on some level. So I do think it's a bit of both, which ultimately is bad news, because even if they promise and they're very good at convincing you that it's going to be different and this apology is like real and all that stuff, and they might even believe it on some level, but like that they're not going to be able to cash that check. So
this is this is all just like so interesting. And I wanted us to talk about this and have you on because this is real. This is so real. We are going to have so many people, Brian, listening to this going like, oh my God, I think they're kind of describing what's happening in my current relationship, someone that I'm dating, or they probably will identify like, holy shit, this is my dad. Like, this is the way my dad has treated me my whole life. And I don't want anyone listening to this going back and like just passing out the label and doing that. But I think having this conversation around it so you can identify it, so you can stop the patterns, right? So you can see that like, holy crap, I am an empathetic person, and they're taking advantage of that and I need to protect myself more. I think awareness and educating yourself and just having the knowledge around this, like that's power. That is going to help you break the cycle. That is going to help you escape if you need to. But if you're clueless and you don't know and you can't identify anything, man, you're just a sitting duck.
If you're out there being an adorable Bambi, it's going to be a tough awakening in this world.
I got big eyes. Such a target.
If you're just sitting out there being Bambi, it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I didn't make the world. I'm sorry that that's the phenomena that we're dealing with. And
it's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. Okay. Trauma bonding. We've talked about this before. And it's so funny. I was talking to one of my kids about this, and they were saying it wrong. They thought, this is funny, you'll get a kick out of this. And maybe this is the thing. They thought trauma bonding meant that these teenage girls were talking about it, and they thought trauma bonding meant that two people experienced a trauma and then they bonded together over it. And I'm like, that might be a thing, but that's not really what trauma bond means when you're talking about things. And they're like, oh, well, what's trauma bond mean? And I'm like, I will get a great answer when I talk to Brian. I'm like, that's cute though. Yeah. That's what they thought.
Yeah. So I think it's two sides to often the same coin, which is like, that can happen. That can happen. Like you're sort of, if your trauma is like you're a helper and you want, if you're fear, it's like the anxious avoidant kind of thing where like your biggest fear is being abandoned, and they're, and so you're an anxious attachment. So like that. And so you can kind of have like a synergistic kind of two people feeding off of each other based on their traumas. But then with these people, what we're talking about, you're going to they're going to create new trauma for you to do it. So,
and then you get bonded to them through that.
So then, I think because I always try to approach these answers from like, how can I offer something that you can't just Google your way through? Like, what's the emotional truth? Like, what's the deeper emotional truth going on? And when it comes to trauma bond, they are clever at sort of they sort of take the power in the sense that you are now trying to feed out of their hand and you're trying to get their validation and you're looking to them. I had one of my clients, she's like, my whole sense of self-worth is contingent on what this guy, whether he likes me, approves me. And she knows that's not, she's a very smart woman. Like she knows that's not a good thing, but this is what I get really into, like the intellectual brain versus the emotional. So, intellectually, well, I can't have my whole sense of self and self-worth be reliant on whether this guy hands it to me. But the emotional truth is she feels like I need this guy to hand me, like approve, validate for me to get my sense of.
Yes.
So in that sense, that's a really powerful trauma bond. And then of course there's the ups and downs that I talk about that is very real in the brain circuitry of the euphoric high and then the crash, because it doesn't last. It's like they're not going to be super kind and apologetic and love bombing forever. They're going to it's going to revert. So all this stuff creates a powerful trauma bond. My other thing I want to say, this is my disclaimer on the trauma bond and why it is a very real thing. Like I've experienced it myself. Like this is what I'm hoping to do on a podcast where you have a little bit more of a longer form. This is harder to convey on a Instagram short clip.
It is.
So it is a real thing. I want to use this longer form.
Okay.
It is a real thing. I personally experienced it. I have clients, I see it. But if you constantly sort of defer to that as like, oh, I'm trauma bonded. Oh, it's a trauma, but I feel that you're a little bit giving away your power. Like I'm not saying it's not a real thing and that you're not trauma bonded. I'm just saying if we use that as like an insert, this is why I can't leave this person. I don't think it's helping you to constantly reinforce that narrative just for your own sake as someone who, if you're trying to break free, like we want to use language that empowers you and gives you a chance to, instead of saying, oh, I'm trauma bonded, so I went back, it's like, well, he's had a lot of strong pulls on me, but I deserve more. Like just trying to shift the link.
That mindset.
My main thing is not diagnosing narcissism. My main thing is trying to help people, build their lives up, uplift them. So
life is a workout, and Smoothie King is here to help you power through. Whether you're grinding out bicep curls or muscling the couch across the living room, crushing morning miles, or sprinting through back-to-back meetings,
Smoothie King has fuel to help you maximize your workouts, own your recovery, and elevate your game. Give your body the energy, protein, and power it needs with a lineup of delicious smoothies made to help you conquer your goals. Only at Smoothie King.
From that standpoint, I don't want to just sit in a pool of trauma bond. I want to start to shift so that's my longer form disclaimer of like, yes, it's a real thing. It's very powerful. It's going to feel like you're literally addicted. I felt like I was literally addicted, but we want to rebuild the language and all the things we do to get you to a better place.
Well, I was going to ask, like, can people break free from a trauma bond? I mean, that's what you essentially do. You help people heal from it and break free from it, but it feels like an addiction. And I'm glad that you're saying that, because the first steps, it sounds like, is changing that narrative in your head, changing that just simple verbiage, but what else can people do to break these trauma bonds and to heal from someone? Because man, it's real. And with social media and phones and everything, you can just keep feeding that over and over and over again. And if you give them access, they can be texting you, they can be FaceTiming you, they can be calling you, they can be emailing you, you block them, you can get a Google number, like it can just keep going. And then I feel like it just restarts a fire that you're trying to put out.
Yeah. So this is probably the hardest question you're going to ask me, to be perfectly honest. So a couple things. Every time you re-engage, you're resetting your healing clock, right?
Oh,
so like
I hate that you said
and
that.
this is where it gets even harder. This is where I'm gonna have people screaming at me, and I've learned this through my channel, the DMs I get. Like, I was in a position where no contact eventually was possible in the way, but there's people listening that are co-parenting, that are living with them, that are, so I don't want to,
parent.
Parent, like, yes, the meme is very valid. Like, ultimately, if you can go no contact, I'm going to come back to your question, but like, yeah, ultimately the goal is no contact. You're going to detox. It's going to be horrible. You're going to feel really, really bad. And then eventually, it'll get better. But yeah, there's definitely going to be a period where you're craving them, because the sort of an addiction like component of, how it is. So, but yeah, ultimately you want to get to no contact. It's going to be really hard. There's plenty of people who can't do no contact. So we have to figure out what's the best next level.
Right.
But so there are a couple things. One is you're going to have to like call in some sort of faith. Like, it's going to be so intense, and you're going to hit your level. I always say, like, when is enough? And you're ultimately going to, nobody knows that. You don't even know that. Like, you'll have to come to your own like moment where like you have to make that firm decision of like, this is just, I'm not doing this again. I'm just not doing this again. And that's been the hardest thing, is I see people go back, and like, I know the cycle of like the tendencies to go back to back. You'll go back and back until you're like, okay, this is just, until you are 100% convinced that there is no hope, they are not changing, things are not going to get better, the apologies are not real, the relationship is not going to be good. Like, you want more for your whatever trauma bond, high, low, whatever you like about this, you ultimately are like, okay, well, yeah, roller coasters are fun, but like, I couldn't grow a business. I couldn't function. I couldn't grow a business. Like at some point it's like, yeah, this is like a lot of fun being like super toxic and like ruining my life. But at some point it's like, this is kind of absurd, and I need to like move on and stuff like that. So that's really the hardest thing, is usually it's an inside job. Now, we want to call in as much support as humanly possible. Like, get a therapist, get a therapist, get a coach. If you have friends and family that you can rely on, that like nobody likes them, I think there's a lot of value in the collective intelligence. If you have good friends and family who are really there to support you and nobody likes them, like that.
The collective intelligence. I like that.
Like I'm a big fan of the collective intelligence. Are they the one in relationship? No. Does it matter? They're not the one in the relationship. Do they understand the relationship the way you do? And do they understand all the ins and outs? No. But the collective intelligence, if you have good friends and family, the collective intelligence, nobody likes this person, nobody likes like that. You might want to be like, okay, what are the chances that everyone I love is wrong? Right. So, and then the other thing is, I want the call in support. Like, I want to like triple underline that of, if your house was on fire, right? I'm trying to, if you were in an emergency and your house is on fire, maybe that's finally the time that you are, this is the other thing about these empathetic hyperachievers. They're like, it's so hard for them to ask for help. So
What?
if you're,
Ew. What are you
So-
talking about?
so it's like, treat it like the once in a lifetime moment where you finally get out of your own way and you're willing to ask for help and you're willing to be like, hey, I need help. Like
The fire department right now.
the call, like, and that's what yeah. So like, if there's ever a moment to come and like pull out those cards, like pull out those cards that you've been saving of like, oh, maybe, you know, if I'm really in a jam, like call in as much support as you humanly can, people you trust, coach, they're like, some of these people are free. Like if you have friends and family, that's ostensibly free. Coach and therapist might cost you something, but
Right.
whatever you can resource in, treat it very, you know, treat it like a big deal, treat it like an emergency.
Okay.
If your house is on fire, are you going to be the one putting out the house alone? No, you're going to get as much, you know, people. But my God's honest truth is that from my experience and a lot of people I see, I just can offer like, have some faith, have some serenity, because you will hit your moment when you're ready to shift. And it's really hard to predict when that is exactly. But when I say trust and surrender, it's like, just know that you will get to that place where you will be firmly ready to make a shift. Because the collective intelligence told me day one, oh, this is not a good thing. But I wasn't fully ready to hear that and to listen. So like, I had to come to my own conclusion because I'm stubborn. And so I had to come to my own conclusion of like, oh, okay, now I really, I have like no hope. There's nothing you can possibly say at that point to change my mind that this is no bueno, right? You have to get to that. So it's like a embodied deep conviction, and we respond to pain. So it's going to be this is the hardest thing. It is going to be more painful and more painful until you, like, it doesn't get better. It gets more painful until you make,
Hey, Bomb Life fam, I have a question for you. Are you the kind of person who crushes it at work, shows up for your family, checks off every to-do list, but when it comes to your fitness, your energy, and your confidence, it feels like something's missing? You might be doing the workouts, listening to all the right podcasts. I mean, you are listening to this one. But deep down, you know you're just kind of going through the motions and you're done playing small in this area of life. That's exactly why I created Fit Mind Coaching, my private one-on-one program for high-achieving women and men who are ready to level up. This isn't just another fitness plan. This is about building the body and the mindset to match the life you're working so damn hard for. Because success in business means nothing if you're hiding in hoodies, avoiding mirrors, or dragging through your day with zero energy, or showing up on Zoom meetings feeling good from the chest up, but praying no one ever sees what's going on below the screen. We're talking about fat loss, muscle building, and real confidence that bleeds into every area of your life, your boardroom, your bedroom, and your parenting. You want it all? Good. You should have it all. Let's go. Click the link in the show notes and book your free call with me today. Let's build the strongest, most confident version of you inside and out. You're ready for more, and I'm ready to show you how. Back to the show. I totally agree. And I think with that, the collective intelligence, you need that on a t-shirt, by the way. Like you need to like make that into something for you. But that if you don't want to tell them what's really going on and you don't want to share the information because you're like, I don't know, it's like the moment it comes out of your mouth and you're like embarrassed or you're like, holy shit, that does sound terrible. That's your sign.
Bingo.
Things that I was afraid to tell other people that, you know me and that I love them and trust them, whatever. And I was like, I don't want to say this. And I'm like, this has got to be really bad if I'm trying to hide it. I think we need awareness around that.
Yeah. And not to plug the coaching therapist stuff, but I've seen that many times where they are so ashamed.
Yes. Ashamed.
They can't tell their friends and family. And there's been times where I'm the only person as their hired coach. I'm the only person.
I know. Yes.
That like, she's like, I've never told, I can't even tell my family this. And so yes, to what you're saying, like that should be a huge internal red flag of like, oh my gosh, if I can't even tell my family, like, yes, that is a raging red flag for like, okay, this is not good. But at least find one person, whether you hire them or not, that like, don't hold all that shame and secret.
Yes.
Like monsters grow bigger in the dark, you know? So like try to find at least one person that you like, try not to hold all this. Like I said, the fire department, it's too much to do alone. It's too much to hold in alone.
It is. Are there different types of narcissists? I
Hmm.
don't know much about this at all. Like, is there, I don't know.
Hmm.
I feel like I've seen two types in my lifetime, people that were close to me and then other people in like relationships. And I'm like, that's very similar, but yeah, very different, but the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah. Some of the classic two types are like covert narcissists versus regular. So
Okay.
covert tends to be less. They're like the prototypical narcissist is a bit kind of like flamboyant, for lack of, like they're seeking attention, they're grandiose, they eat up the energy of the room, like it's sort of a
Yeah.
big show. That's kind of your typical version. But the covert, a lot of people, I get a lot of DMs and message comments, whatever, like they think the covert is worse because they basically fly under the radar a bit. They're not going to be super ostentatious and showy, and they're not
Mhm.
going to, it's so they kind of like seep in and then subtly play the victim card and the gaslighting, and it's kind of like before, it's like they kind of fly under the radar, and they're like, wait a minute, why is this now all of a sudden they're the victim, they're gaslighting me, they're
Mhm.
chipping away at my, so that because they hide it better essentially. So because they hide it better, people think that's worse, because then it's like Chinese water torture. They
Yeah.
get away with it for longer until you're like, what, like,
Interesting.
so they're that's your classic,
Okay.
but yeah, there's all colors of the rainbow, malignant narcissists. I mean, it goes on and
Oh my
on.
God.
It's just yeah, it's like it's not fun. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, not at all. Can we talk about gaslighting a little bit? Because I did not know what gaslighting even was or what it meant. And then I had to like look up the story of the gas lamps and like how it all
Mhm.
originated and stuff. But I got accused of gaslighting a lot. And I was like, I don't even know what that means. I'm like, hey Siri, hey Siri, what's gaslighting? Am
Yeah.
I doing this? Am I a narcissist? And then I
Yeah.
started like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, holy shit, I'm questioning my reality. The gaslighting is working. Because that's essentially what it is. But can you explain this a little bit? Because I think this happens in relationships, even with people that aren't a narcissist, and I think
Mhm.
it's a topic that we need a little bit more education on for sure.
Yeah, and unfortunately, just like, these terms do get flown around
Yes.
pretty. And I've had some laughable examples where it's like, oh, I showed up late, and she's like, why are you gaslighting me? I'm like, that's not
That's
that's
not
not
it.
actually that's not really actually what
That's
the
not it.
freak word. That's not it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so people, I'm like, that's
It is getting thrown around a lot. And
yeah.
I'm like,
So
eh.
no, essentially, it's when someone is capable and they do it subtly. This is why it's like, if it was obvious, you'd be like, oh, like, I'm like,
Right.
Melissa, your shirt is purple. You're like, but it's white. But if I was able to do that in a way slowly, subtly, where you're like, is it purple?
Is it?
Like, is my, like, so like so you can't just like bludgeon someone over the head with it. You have to be a little bit sophisticated, where it's like, I don't know, I think it has a hue of purple. I'll get off of that analogy, but the point is, you're sort of slowly making them question, like, like everything gets turned around, and,
Yes.
and then you're like wondering, like, well, I don't know, like I could have, like, if you come in with one kind of sense of objective reality, and somehow all of that has been compromised, and you're like questioning it, and you're just left with this like self, questioning yourself and everything. It's essentially, it's getting them to, like, having them sort of rewrite your truth and like what you're kind of
Mhm.
seeing and stuff. Is like, it's not good, because now the worst thing about the gaslighting, again, deeper emotional truth, like, so if we go off of the definition, like, what's the
Yeah.
bigger relevance, if you can't even trust yourself, like, the worst symptom of gaslighting is you are no longer trusting yourself. Like, I could have sworn this shirt is purple, and now I don't even know the freaking color of my shirt. It's like you are losing
I feel that.
your self-trust. And if you don't have self-trust, if you can't even trust your own brain, your own eyeballs, your own
Oh, you are
sense of
fucked.
like, yeah. So that's, to me, again, trying to answer these questions is like a deeper level. The
I know.
worst thing about the gaslighting is, yeah, you're sort of questioning, and the short answer is they're getting you to believe lies. That's basically what gaslighting is. But the bigger thing about it is you're losing your self-trust. And if you can't even trust yourself, like, now you are, there's so many bad things that happen with that because now you really are Bambi, because if you
Right.
can't even believe yourself, I can convince you to believe anything because you don't even trust yourself. So
Yes.
now I can be the arbiter of truth of like, I'll tell you what shirt is purple or white. I'll tell you like now. So you're sort of
my God.
outsourcing yourself.
That's making me sweat.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah.
That is so
Yeah.
scary. And I know it happens to men too, but I've seen that happen to so many women, Brian.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do want to shout out for the guy because it happens to guys too,
Yes.
for sure. It
Oh,
happens to everybody.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, a lot of females. Yeah.
Yeah, I've witnessed this with I'm just going to say a very close person in my life who is a male and the female. And I'm like, holy shit. I'm like watching it happen and unfold. And I'm like, I've never seen a female do this before, but I know it's possible and it happens. And I'm like watching it going, you do see what she's doing right now, right?
Right.
And so it definitely goes both ways, but
Yeah. So, and just to put a bow on that really rosy picture. So not only is someone just like, okay, I'm a carte blanche, like, no, just tell me what the truth is. Like, okay, is it like, so that's horrible because now you just have a bad leader leading your truth and your,
right.
but I think, it's like leading you into battle to death. And I say that like someone who's been there, like, if you don't trust yourself, like, you're going to feel so unwell. You're going to feel so uneasy in your own body. If you're like, wait a minute, like I could have sworn, and I went through this like not too long. I'm like, I could have sworn XYZ, but he's telling me ABC, and it's just, it's like you're confusing yourself. It's like crazy. Yeah. It's a horrible thing. So, again, it's subtle, meaning you might not detect it immediately. That's why I always go back to, this is another limit. Like, I would have to have hours with friends and unpacking, like, he said my shirt was purple, but I could have sworn it was white, but like, maybe like I would have to spend all this time retroactively analyzing, psychoanalyzing, like trying to make sense of it. And that, again, in and of itself is a huge litmus test for if you have to spend hours with a friend or someone trying to make sense of absurdity, make sense of insanity like that. You know what I mean? So, because that's sort of how because you might not, even if you have a really trained eye, you might not detect it like in real time, but you will pick it up later and be like, wait a minute. And like that whole stuff, like that's how you're in the gaslighting territory.
Yeah. Yeah. Last one, breadcrumbing. Can we talk about breadcrumbing?
Breadcrumbing.
I was completely clueless about this. I still don't fully understand it, but I know I was a victim.
Yeah. So there's a couple ways that there's like a positive and sort of negative. So they're both negative, but in terms of how I'm thinking about it, if you are someone who doesn't ask for much and requires and wants very little, and someone gives you a breadcrumb of what? A breadcrumb of affection, a breadcrumb of validation, like you are going to be a dread sponge with the drop of water who just like absorbs that and is like, oh my God, that feels so. Some version of breadcrumbing is getting like micro doses of what you should be getting anyway, but like because for whatever, and it sounds weird to say it loud, but people get in these things where it's like they're not used to getting, they're always doing for others, they're always providing, they're always, so like they don't ask for anything and they'll get like a breadcrumb of positive, and it feels like, so that's side of the quote unquote positive, like a breadcrumb of affection or validation or attention or anything like that. But it can also kind of be a breadcrumb of like an apology or like just enough to like keep you like moving forward. Like the breadcrumb, like the breadcrumb is like just enough. Like you didn't quite get the conversation or the apology. Like you didn't really get the full meal deal, but you're getting like just enough. Okay. Like you're like, okay, I'm never going to talk to this person again. And then they breadcrumb like a couple messages, a couple emails, like just minimum viable dose to like keep you trucking forward.
Yeah.
Like not enough to actually make you feel better and be like, Melissa, oh my God, like I can't believe, like I'm so, like not enough to like really make you feel better, but enough to keep you inching forward. So it's just micro doses of whatever it takes to keep you stuck. That's honestly probably the best. It's probably the best definition I have in real time. Is like microdoses of whatever it takes, apologies, affection, attention, gifts, whatever
Right.
microdose, like the bare minimum, just to keep you stuck in the loop.
Right. I've heard things be said to my kids before, and I had to stop, and I was like, that's like breadcrumbing. And it would be in a way of like, I did this, you should be happy, or like, you, at least you got this. So I don't know what you're complaining about. And I'm like,
Right.
just because you provided this doesn't mean that your lack of hug and kisses.
It doesn't exonerate you for 30 years.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's not a proper atonement, but yeah, and they're not trying to, the purpose, again, deeper truth, deeper meaning. It's just another mechanism to keep you stuck.
Yeah. I completely agree. Okay. Someone's listening to this right now. They can identify it, or maybe like a parent is listening and they can see it happening in their daughter's relationship or son's relationship, or it's themselves. What can they do? What can be like the first step that they do? Mine would be like, go follow you on YouTube and Instagram and like pour into your education cup. Like learn more about it, hear more about it. Because I love your reels because you hit so many like different angles and stuff, and you put things in a way that I was like, oh, I wouldn't have thought of it that way. Or like, I don't know, you were sitting on the couch just the other day and you were like pointing to something. I can't remember the topic. Do you remember? You're probably like, I do a million of those. God, I can't remember. And you were sitting there and I was like, oh, I never thought of it that way. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I have a couple pointers, but yeah, no, I do these daily, so it's hard to know exactly which one.
Like, what are you talking about?
The point is, it was super good, right? It was
yes, that was the point. Go watch it. If you're listening, go watch it. But that's my advice. Is step one is like find people that can educate you, help you understand things more. Because an educated mind is powerful. Knowledge is power. I totally believe in that. So that's my advice. What would you suggest to someone listening to this right now going, oh God, you guys just blew my mind right now?
Yeah, no, I actually would agree with you. That's where I started. I think, especially if you're a smart person, I don't know who's going to listen to this and be like, I don't identify as a smart person. If you're someone who has a brain, like most people want to understand, you're going to try to get a sense of comfort in this chaos. You want like a blanket of comfort, or like, give me something. And so I think educating yourself is a really good place to start. So you can at least feel like you are starting to get your arms around the tree, at least intellectually, so you can kind of get what's going on.
Yeah.
And then, then it gets a lot deeper, right? Like if you really want to dig into this stuff, like you got to find someone, work with, if you really, really want to full send this, find someone who can help you ultimately identify and heal the patterns in you that even like the reality that this is like the hardest thing to say is like, ultimately we create our realities, right?
Yeah.
So on some level, I'm not like nobody deserves mistreatment, all this stuff, but like on some level, we consciously or unconsciously, we create our realities. And so if you really, whether you like hearing this or not, but if you really want to hit the root of this, we need to figure out and sort of heal, rectify, reprogram in you. Why did you tolerate this? Why did you attract it? Like,
yes.
Am I saying you're the problem, they're not the problem? No, we can't change them. We can only change, we can only address you. You can only address you.
Right.
So, if the options are take a look at yourself and work on yourself with the right practitioner, the right therapist, the right coach, versus sit there and hope that they'll heal and treat you better. Like, we have to be smart about this. Like, if you really want to take an ownership mentality, like we have to deep dive into your makeup of,
I agree,
of what tolerated this, what attracted this, why did you endure it?
Yes.
These are hard. These are,
my God.
These are not easy. So if we want to go level 1 education, level 10, you really have to, it's the hardest part. It's like, you gotta like take a hard look at yourself and with the right person, the right, somatic, unconscious, like you gotta dig deeper. Yeah.
I agree. And it's really hard to ask yourself those questions of like, what's going on inside of me that allowed me to tolerate this, to even let this go happen in my life? Like, why did I create this reality? And that's really hard to swallow. And I get that too. And like the work that I do too, because it's hard to tell people sometimes, but it's like you created yourself to be this overweight, miserable person. Why? Where did this start? Because then once we know that foundation, then we can start building and healing and growing and changing physically,
Right.
mentally, emotionally from that. But no one wants to look in the mirror and be like, well, it's like that Morgan
Yeah.
Wallen song. Like, I guess I'm the problem, but
that blasts, if you could even think about that, that blasts you out of victim mindset, victim
yes,
mentality. Like,
such a good point.
it's like that, like, and this is like, it's a longer format. Yes, you're a victim in that someone did things that,
Yes.
were not appropriate. So in that sense, you are a victim, but
Yes.
I don't want you adopting the victim mindset, because it's going to preclude you from doing things to make sure it doesn't happen again. and stuff.
Exactly. Brian, where can people follow you, fill their cup, all of the things? We'll put everything in the show notes too, but give it to us
Okay,
on
sure.
here.
Yeah. Most of it's on Instagram at Brian with an I .Comstock, COMSTOCK. And then if you take my name, briancomstock.com or .co, my .com is my blog and website, and the .co, briancomstock.co is my everything relating to this and getting help and getting support. And I have a truly 10 out of 10 stake my reputation on it. Amazing coach and person that's helping me
Awesome.
work with people, and she's co-parenting with it's like she's in the thing, like she's very, on top of the thing. So yeah, I would just say when in doubt, trust your intuition. They're going to try to make sure you don't trust your intuition. So just do what, if you're feeling called to work with someone or follow someone, or it doesn't have to be me, but just try to rebuild that, cultivating,
Yes.
your own sense, your own compass. Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you for coming on. Thank you for being a compass for me. Like, because I got introduced to you at the time in my life when I needed it, and you had an impact. So what you're doing and the work that you're doing is great, and it works. And we're so blessed to have you on the show and your podcast. You have the Brian Comstock podcast as well. So check you out. I'm assuming you're on iTunes, Spotify, all that good stuff.
All the
yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Brian. This was an amazing conversation. You guys check out the show notes, go follow, and then reach out if you can relate to any of this and you need help. Oh, I'm a big advocate for coaching and not doing this process alone. So thanks for being that person, Brian.
Thank you, Melissa. This was great.
Everyone stay safe, stay healthy. Until next time. The Bomb Life podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. The content shared here is not intended as medical, legal, or professional advice. Always consult with a qualified professional before making any health, fitness, financial, or legal decisions. The opinions shared on this podcast are personal experiences and insight. So if you need expert guidance, go find the right professional for you. Thanks for listening.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/zip. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ziprecruiter.com/zip. That's ziprecruiter.com/zip. ziprecruiter.com/zip.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.